Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at the official storage solution for Xia. This can hold both the base game, the Embers of a Forsaken Star expansion, and the new Missions and Powers expansion that's coming out in the 2.0 version of this that just released. I did a quick little clip of when I first received the package. I'll splice that in here. I took a lot of pictures while I was assembling it, but I didn't actually do a video of the assembly. Hey, I finally got my Xia Station from Meeple Reality, and comes like this. And I'm going to open it up, make sure everything's all right, and get it all put together, and then I will show you more of it after it's all assembled. I've been waiting to get my hands on one of these things for the longest time. I waited because I wanted to get the 2.0 version that has the updated mission tray for the cards to hold the new Missions and Powers expansion. I think all they did was they had it segmented off to separate out the Xia Legends of a Drift System missions and the Embers of a Forsaken Star missions. And I think everybody's going to leave them together anyway. So they took that divider out, and I think that's what made the extra room for the handful of new cards. So they might have made the ship section for the cards a little bit bigger too. But I'll check all that out when I get in here and let you know how easy it is to put together. I might take some pictures during assembly, but I'm probably not going to do video because there's a lot of background noise, which is why I'm not in my normal place to record right now. But I will try to get some pictures of it though during the process so you guys can see it as it shapes up, and I'll be back and tell you about it when it's all done and show it to you. Anyway, I got a chance to put it all together now. Had a couple issues along the way, and we'll get into that, but don't have it actually in the box yet because I wanted to show you everything assembled before I put everything in it. The first thing we have are our assembly instructions, and they're pretty straightforward for the most part. There was one issue I had on a piece here. I think it was part of the tile tray. The nubs at the top here are slightly closer together on one end than the other. They didn't really specify that too well when you're putting them on here. And I think it's this piece on the end here. And I had these two actually flipped around the other way. Luckily I could pull them off, flip them back around. It wasn't too big of an issue. That one was totally my fault. Back towards the back though, and I did point this one out and actually sent them something about it. They have these three pieces right here, all listed as 83, and they're all listed as 83 on there too. This one on the end is different than these other two. It's a mistake. You see this one has like 2 nubs on the bottom, this one has 2 nubs, this one has 3. The one with 3 actually goes on the bottom here. It should be a different number. They overlooked that at some point, but that one was pretty easy to figure out. The only one I really had issue with is the 2 trays that slide together here, and I'll show all these when I get done here. And for some reason I cannot get these 2 trays to line up, and hopefully they're going to be sending me another. They checked to make sure it wasn't a mistake in the new 2.0 version, but apparently they assembled one just fine, so it's just me. But could not get those to line up enough to put them together no matter what I did. So the first things we have are our ship trays, and nothing's in any of this stuff yet. I haven't put it in there yet. Plan to do it before the end of this video though. And we have our tier 1 ship tray, and these kind of flip up. They have actual metal hinges on there, just screw really. And then they have slots for all of your tier 1 ships. And there's another one for the tier 2 ships, again the same thing. There's one for our tier 3 ships, and it's quite a bit bigger because the tier 3 ships are bigger. And every now and then this will catch in this top corner here. It might need to be sanded just a little. Not a big deal. In the very least it'll wear down after use. And then we have our NPC one, and this will hold all of the NPCs from the base game as well as Embers of a Forsaken Star, Although it does only have room for one of the cell swords, so if you have the cell sword Mark 1 and the Mark 2, you kind of got to tuck one in behind the rest of the ships, and I'll show you that when I actually fill them up. So next thing we have is our system tile tray, and this was when I was talking about these pieces on the end. You can see one side is considerably shorter than the other as far as these go. Just make sure that you put those on the correct way. These little pegs are kind of frustrating to get in and get all lined up when you're putting the top piece on, but they work. I did manage. I don't know if I can get it on camera. You see a little bit right there. I did manage to split one trying to push it on. There you can kind of see where it split on me. Still perfectly functional. I think it's going to be fine. It just frustrated me. I split one trying to get them on there, but that's the worst thing that happened. I can live with that. Look at this cool tray. This is for the base game. It has enough for your 5 player in one side, and you're going to put all your little marker pegs for your activation tokens in here and whatnot. And the sides of these pull off so you can slide things out easily. The other side is your 5 cargo cubes, the different commodities you can buy and sell. And again, they're really tight fit in there, but these pop off so you can just slide them out as you need them. And like that tray, the only complaint is there's only 5 because they put all the expansion stuff in its own tray, which we'll get to. Next we have this deeper tray, and this one is where your dice are going to go, your damage tokens, the money, and I might have to do something with this because my exploration tokens are in those little coin cases, so they're going to take up a little bit more room. I have multiple sets of dice, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. And also going to need to save one of these for the new 2,000 credits that are coming out, because I got the 1,000s, the 2,000s, and the 5,000s now. Next we have our outfit tray, and I really like this one, the way it came out. This lid pops off of here. And then you have all of your outfits in here. These are going to be your missiles, and I think these are blasters. And then you open this up, and you're going to have your engines and shields and whatnot in there. You take those out though, and you set them right on the table next to your playing area, and everything's convenient and easy to get to. Then we have this tray for the Embers of a Forsaken Star expansion. It's got this little diagonal back in here, and you lay out your cargo pods or armor plating there. You got spots for the GTSs, the mission computers and whatnot in there, and then a section for the Ember cubes, which is kind of annoying. They don't go with the regular cubes, but if you're not using Embers, you don't just leave this tray in the box, and so it kind of makes it easier for that respect. Next we have our card box, and this does fit sleeved cards, which is nice. They have it segmented off into different sections, so you can easily find what you're looking for, and these dividers are removable, so you can get the cards out of there easy. And the one change between the original version of Xia Station and the 2.0 is that they used to have a section segmented off here for the Embers missions to keep them separate from the regular missions. And they removed that divider and gave you a little extra room, just enough to carry all the stuff from the Missions and Powers expansion. I want to say they made this ship section slightly bigger too, but I don't have the two to compare to see. But it would make sense if they made it a little bigger, because it adds a new set of powers for each of the ships, so that section would need to be a little bit bigger. And of course they added more missions in that too. And then our final piece here, and this is the one, like I said, I was having trouble with. These do not line up. No matter what I tried sanding even to get it a little, but it's hard to see on camera. They're enough off where it's top and bottom too. That one you can really tell. And I tried doing everything. Yeah, you can see the sides, they're loose again because I've been fiddling with it, trying to get it to realign. Really like this. I just think they overworked it. It didn't need to be as complicated, and it would have been simpler to use. If you do get it put together and working, though, it is really nice. And the two slides slide apart. And on this side down here, you're going to have all of your player boards and the scoreboard for the fame tracker. And then on your other side here, you'll have your marketplace economy board, the couple tokens that go to a couple of the special ships. The first player token goes here, the meteor goes here, the Rashiki or whatever it is, and I don't remember what goes in that one. The victory point counter. And again, I have my victory point. I don't think I have the, not sure if I have the victory point counter, but I know I have the 2 ship ability counters in plastic token cases, so they're not going to fit in those. So I'm not sure if I'm going to take them out of the cases or just find a different place to store them for now. Anyway, that's a quick look at all the assembled pieces, and now we're going to load them up with all of the stuff from the game and see how well it all fits in there. Okay, so everything's in the things now. I did have to leave the tokens out of here because of mine being in cases. I have the little plastic cases on them, like my impulse tokens here. So I had to rearrange where a couple things go. They do give you a really nice, as you go through the instructions, each tray is labeled exactly what goes where, so you're not trying to figure out what you're shoving where. Again, I had to change a couple things because of what I have, but we'll get it all back in the box now and see. I set myself enough room to get the box here. And this was my old insert. These were my cards went in here, and I was using those to split. So we replaced that with the nice card tray, and again you can see they're sleeved in there. And the instructions also show you the order where everything goes to lay in. So this is actually going to go in our back corner here. And these trays are nice because you can just pull them right out, put them on the table, and play right out of them. So it's going to help your setup too a lot. We get our tier 1, and the ships all fit in there nice. The really cool thing about these is the door actually latches in front of the bases here to hold them in place, so they're not going anywhere. That's kind of cool. Tier 1 ships go there. Tier 2 ships go here. Gotta put them in the right spots. Our tier 3 ships in the end. And the NPCs, this is what I was saying. You have just enough for the 3 NPCs from the original game, the sellsword, the kiln station, and the 3 comets from the expansion. I might actually take one of my comets and just kind of set it there when I get my second sellsword, so I have room for it. Just something to keep in mind if you own both sellswords. And the output trays look really cool once they're all loaded up. Now you can see what goes where. And on the tard shield here, you know, these others have room to put your finger in to get out what you're trying to get out. These ones don't. There's, I don't know if I can do it without dumping it. Probably not. There's actually a hole in the tray right there, so you can push down and they pop up, so you can grab them out easy. They thought of everything on these. And then our top piece goes back on here. And same thing with the other one. Nice load out, easy to get. Again, you just pop the top off this, set it on your table, and you're good to go. And those have the lid on it actually, because this sits sideways in the box. And the one thing of note, the sector tile tray holds exactly flush to the top the base game and the expansion. The only downside is we play with a handful of extra blank tiles that were from the dev kits. So I have to find something to do with these. So I got 6 extra tiles that I can't actually fit in the insert. So that's something to keep in mind. If you use any custom tiles or extra tiles, there is not room for them. My insert actually had enough room for them, but wasn't nearly as nice. So then we have our trays all filled out. Like I said, these pop off so you can slide them out, so don't think they look like too tight of a fit and you can't get them out, because that would be a pain if you didn't. But yeah, these sides come off. And then one weird thing of note, must be the humidity or something here in New York, where the temperature keeps changing from extreme hot to extreme cold. But my clear cubes keep cracking. This is the second batch. Cody from Far Off Games actually sent me some replacements, because a lot of my plasma and hollow cubes cracked originally, and he sent me out replacements and a couple other replacements. I got one hollow cube there on the end, and I think 2 or 3 plasma cubes are cracking again. So I don't know what it is. It's just the clear ones that do that, though. And then this was my solution for the, oh yeah, I kind of skipped over that on the other tray too. My exploration tokens I keep in coin cases, because they're getting handled all the time. Makes them a little bit more durable. And they don't fit in the section provided, so I had to spill them over up to here. I also keep a couple of the old exploration tokens with the fame points. And I keep those around because we use them to mark the jump gates. When they haven't been used yet and nobody's earned those fame points, we'll put those on there. They work great for that. Then you have your relics and armor plating and cargo pods in there. The other tray I kind of skipped over. That's the big one here. You got your ice and regular damage. These are actually supposed to be the wanted tokens, which are in there, my extra wanted tokens. But it has all my first player token and all of our impulse tokens, because I use those cases. They don't fit in the trays where they're supposed to. I might actually lay them in the in with the commodities just to get them out of there so they're not all in there. This is a work in progress here, because my stuff doesn't exactly match what's supposed to go in here. So that might make a little bit more room. Then you got your couple ship ability tokens that are supposed to go in these slots in here, and then the victory point markers in there, as well as my extra wanted tokens, and the blaster from the sellsword I threw in there as well. And then they have 2 spots set aside for exploration tokens. They have this row here, and then the row on the tray with the ember. I put them in on that tray so I could use both of these for dice, because I have 4 sets of dice in here. That way everybody has a set at least near them. You don't have to pass around the table all the time. I may have to rework this a little bit, because I want to free up this space eventually for when missions and powers comes, so I can put the 2,000 tokens in there, and all the 1s, 2s, and 5s all together. So that's going to be something that I'm going to change a little bit. I might put those handful of tokens there in with the Ember stuff, in where the event tokens are. And then the last part is the part that I'm not going to be able to actually put in, because these two will not go together. Last time I actually managed to get them to fit, they were so tight I had to use a screwdriver to pry them back apart. And see, this thing's on the side here. This is supposed to line up with that slot, which it doesn't. And these are supposed to line up, which they don't. And maybe I'm just terrible at making these, but I cannot get this to fit. So we're going to try just for the video here. Try not to break it. Just want to get it closed. Oh, I'll pop the top off, but I managed to get it in there somewhat. So at least they closed. Yeah, see, I popped part of it off because they don't line up. But that's going to fit in here. I'm doing this all off camera so you can't see. This tray fits here. So everything fits in there nice and neat like that. Now it would fit, I would say, perfectly flush until you throw the books in there. We have all of our notes for teaching the game. But you got your 3 books, you get your solo rules, Ember's rules, and the base game rules that go on top here. And it may still sit flush with all of them. This side actually sits a little lower, so. And there you have it. It fits almost perfectly flush. Like I said, I think it's the rule books that pop it up. But that's everything from the base game, the expansion, and the new expansion. It's got plenty of room in there for that. My old insert, I had a Plano tray for the ships and the dice. I kept all of the player tokens and dice in their own little bag, so we had a ton of those. I actually have my extra player because we're crazy and we play with extra people. That I'm going to find a spot to throw back in. Then we had like the exploration, I think the relics were in those. My exploration tokens were in that. The money was in that. And then we have a tray I built for the outfits. My system token tray. Damage tokens were in those. And then my commodities were in there. So all that's been replaced with that new insert. Looks much nicer. It's going to be much quicker to set up. And again, you just throw those things back out on the table, the trays, and you're good to go. Got a printed out FAQ in there too. I have a lot of extra stuff. And like I said, yeah, this is all extra room for the extra ship abilities that come in the new expansion, and plenty of room for the extra missions. There's actually more than enough in there. Really happy with the way everything turned out, except for the tray that I could not get built properly. But like I said, that's on me. They tested, made sure it does go together. It's just my first time ever putting one of these together, and I picked a very complicated one. The one thing I will point out, though, if you've never built one of these before and you're not familiar with them, it's something that I never really thought of and never really paid attention to. But these come on these wooden frames, basically, and they're laser cut out of the frame. And because of that, they leave small pieces attached. You can see a little nub there. And the laser leaves this nice burnt edge that looks nice compared to the light wood, so it gives you that light and dark. You can see where the pieces fit together. And anywhere there is a little lip holding it into the spruce there, you had to cut those off. And when you cut them off, they leave a little mark. I don't know if I got a brown marker or something, a touch-up pen. I might have a stain pen from when I worked at the furniture company, but just bugs me, and it's something I want to go through and fix. But looking back on it, almost every insert of every company makes that's this type of thing has that same thing for that same reason. So it's just, they're always there. I just never really noticed them before. But it's something to keep in mind if you're new and it's the first time you're doing it like I am. You're going to notice those. Overall, though, very happy with it. I love the way everything fits in there. I know because I changed some things like the capsules on here, the extra players, the extra sets of dice. Have a few things that don't fit, but I knew that going into this. I was expecting to have to make some changes. Really, the only thing I'm kind of disappointed in is the complete lack of being able to squeeze in any extra tiles. They made that like a perfect fit. And hopefully they don't come out with a new expansion that adds more tiles to the game. But for those of us who like the extra blank systems to expand our system, going to have to find some place to put those. I don't use them in every game anyway. I don't use them when I'm playing solo. I think I throw a couple in there. But they're nice to have for bigger games when you're playing to 20 and you want to really expand out your system. I like having the extra blanks in there. Anyway, that's a look at the Xia Station insert from Meeple Reality. It's the official insert for the game. It's even got the Far Off Game logo on it. I like everything about it. Everything. I like the redesign of the tray that they did so we can fit the expansion in there. That's great. And the only thing I would say is I wish they didn't try to make this player board tray as overcomplicated as it is. It looks really cool, and when it functions cool. I've seen them put together the right way, but for some reason I just could not get mine together. I tried flipping pieces over. I thought maybe like this piece was upside down, and I flipped it, and no avail. And then I glued some of it because they do recommend gluing. You don't have to. I think the only place I used glue on the entire thing, too, ended up being on this tray because of recommendations from other people who had built it. These side panels because the way the tracks are here and they slide in and out of each other, they tend to pop off like this one's doing right here. So that people that I've seen put them together before recommended at least gluing these side pieces on. And I think that's part of my problem. They're glued on now, so I really can't make this stuff fit because something's out of alignment somewhere. And everything else, though, literally snaps together so tightly you do not need glue for it, which is a awesome thing. You can put this whole thing together. It did take some time cutting them all out of the spruce, trimming them down, and make sure everything fit. And some things are very hard to test fit, because in order to make sure everything's lined up, you really got to push them in, and then once they're pushed in, they're really hard to get back out, so keep that in mind too. But great insert. It does add some weight to the box. It like doubled the heft of the box here, so keep that in mind too. When you're lugging this game around, it is going to add a considerable amount of weight to the box, but it's well worth it in the end, and it makes it so much easier to set up and tear down, and it looks nice when people walk by and they see the ship trays laid out with all of the models in them. While you're playing, you can even pop these open so they're ready to go when you need models, and it just adds a little bit more to an already great game. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Anyway, as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.